Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Excuse me, guys. It is a hot one. So, how are you guys doing today? I hope all is well. Thank you for being here today, and I hope everyone is doing great. So, um, I'm in a different location today, but um, in any event, because there's some construction going on and I didn't want that noise to interfere with the video because I wasn't sure if you guys were going to be able to hear me. So I'm, changing things around just for today. So thank you for being here, everybody. Welcome to Lisa's Love and Light. I hope you all are enjoying this weather. Um, yeah, it's getting warm, guys. So summer is upon us. And I hope you are doing well. And please continue to take care of yourself, take time out for yourself, do what you need to for you so that you can be the best version of yourself, be better, be healthier, And when you feel better, you do better. I know that for a fact. So, guys, with that being said, please also keep in mind that we are here to uplift one another, not to tear down, not to ever tear down, but to uplift, encourage, so that we can move on, get better, and do better. Um, Also, keep in mind, I'm not a therapist, social worker, or a counselor. I'm just somebody who's going through a lot of hell and challenges and traumas. And I am speaking of ways that I have overcome these problems and challenges in life. So, hopefully, what I say here will resonate with someone who might be currently going through some trials and tribulations. And maybe I might share something that might help you with your own personal situation. In any event, welcome, invite others, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep this going because people are getting help, from these videos, and that's the purpose of it. So the title today, the topic of discussion is Heal and Change Your Mindset. Excuse me. Um, when you adjust your mindset, you change everything. And what that means is that when you look at things from a different perspective, you change everything in your life instead of getting upset and acting out of character, ready to tear up something, destroy. And that's all toxicity. That's all toxic behavior. And it's hard sometimes, when things challenge us. And I had to learn those lessons, and it was very hard to learn, but I did learn, and I'm still learning because sometimes things happen. And when these things happen, sorry guys, I'm just sweating a little bit and I'm trying to do something here with my hair because I'm sweating out my curls, everything. But anyway, when you change your mindset, what happens is that you change your life for the better, and that's all part of the healing process. When you start to heal and you start to feel better, you start to look at your life and situations differently. When we heal and change our mindset, we attract instead of chasing behind things. And I used to chase behind everything in my life, chase behind relationship. One example is someone breaks up with me. Why? What did I do? Etc. So forth. And running behind things that are no longer or that no longer serves my life. Chasing behind situations when doors have closed, for reasons. Remember, guys, everything happens for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, or a lesson. And sometimes these are lessons, and these lessons come to an end because these circumstances and situations are not supposed to stay in our life. They're supposed to teach us something so that we can learn the lesson, close the door and move on. That's, what we're supposed to be doing in some of these circumstances, and not chasing it, because when we chase behind these things that no longer belongs in our life, what happens is that we try to keep the door open to something that needs to be closed now. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson. If somebody or something wants to leave your life, you may question it, have a conversation, etc. But if it's an intent to leave your life, then let it go. Close that door, let that door close. Because when you close one door and you allow it to close, you don't chase. You're supposed to be attracting as you continue to heal, learn lessons, grow and evolve, heal and evolve. You're supposed to learn these lessons. Um, when you allow those doors to close, then God can open up new doors, better situations, better people um, who fit into your life for your highest good. Because the old no longer serves who the new version of yourself is as you get on this journey to heal, grow, and evolve. So sometimes doors have to close so that new ones can open and new situations, better circumstances, and people can come into our lives. Um, you have the power when you heal to manifest what you need and what you want in life. You can manifest those things. But first, you need to remove the toxicity from your plate because it's a huge distraction. And if you try to carry the toxicity as you heal, grow, and evolve, it's not going to work. You have to leave the toxicity behind you. When you remove the toxicity, you remove the players off the board of the game. Less players on the board, less toxicity. Choose yourself. Sometimes what we have to do is to choose ourselves. Close doors, set boundaries, choose ourselves so that we can grow, heal, and evolve, and we can take care of our physical and mental health. That's so important, people, because if we don't do that, then we stay stuck, stagnated in toxic situations that no longer serve us. And we wonder why we can't get through it, why we're stuck here, why we feel stagnated, we can't move forward, because you're trying to carry those toxic situations with you through the new doors that God is trying to open up for you. And those toxic situations and people and circumstances cannot go with you to the next level of your journey. Sometimes these things are hard to learn, but I had to learn these lessons. Just leave people in those circumstances where they are, because they no longer serve who the new version of yourself is as you heal and grow. you know um sometimes they cannot come with you because they're not supposed to be there. They were only there for the lesson, and once you learn the lesson, then the door gets closed. you know I find meditation and prayer very helpful, and I stay in prayer with God all the time, meditate, because sometimes I was stuck, like I talk about being stagnated and stuck. I was stuck into situations, guys, stuck into situations that no longer served me, um, trying to figure out why I feel stagnated, etc., so forth, right? But what I had to learn is that what I just said is that sometimes people, circumstances, and situations are not meant to stay in our life. They were there to teach us something. Once we learn, then that door gets shut and closed. And sometimes we feel some kind of way about it, but these are lessons. And once we learn the lesson, we don't have to repeat it. And when you start feeling like, for me, I started feel some kind of way about this because, my circle of friends and people were small anyway. But then when you make it smaller, there's less, characters on the board, right? But they're lessons, because God cannot open up a new door when you have the toxicity here, because it cannot come with you on your new level, you know, when you start to heal, grow, and evolve. And sometimes the best course of action is to choose yourself so that you can have a time out to take care of your physical, mental health so you can grow, heal, and evolve. And look at things for what they are and not what you want them to be. I used to always ignore comments that people who are in my life used to say, hurtful things. Oh, she or he didn't mean that. They're going through something, you know. So overlooking these things, dismissing them. But these were signs of huge toxicity. And I didn't want to see it for what it was. But because I didn't want to do that, I would repeat these cycles. um, Different players on the board, but same scenario, you know, until I learned these lessons to see people, situations, and circumstances as they are and not what I want them to be. And sometimes people can't give us what we want in life because they're not able to, because they're not capable of it, because of you know, maybe because they haven't healed certain things in their life as of yet, you know, and that's okay, you know. So like I said, sometimes it's just a lesson. You close the door, you know, and sometimes it can be hurtful, it's painful, but these lessons are not, you know, of course they're painful because we have to learn from them. And as I learned and closed those doors, I was able to grow from these situations, you know, and learn to choose myself, to heal and do what I need to do for me. Is so important because, like I said, as you close those doors, God will open up new doors, bring new people, new circumstances in your life, better situations. You remember the story of Job in the Bible, you know, and I'm not here to preach to anyone, but I use these examples as metaphors of, you know, this conversation that we're having here. Job lost everything. God allowed Satan to test Job because he thought Job was just, you know, loving on God because of the material aspect of it. But in reality, he really loved God. So God allowed Satan to test him, and he lost everything. He had, I mean, Job was one of the richest men during that time, and he lost everything: his children, his material possession, and his health. Everything was down. I mean, he was at rock bottom to the point that his wife told him to just curse God and die, get it over with, man. You know, that kind of attitude. But Job was faithful through it all because he loved God and he knew that there was a reason why this was happening. And as he passed this test and proved his love and faithfulness to God, God restored him with everything 100 times over than what he had before, than what was taken from him. And the point of the story I'm making, as you heal your pain, the grief, the trauma, as you continue to persevere through these trials and challenges that keep you stuck and stagnated, because you're going to fall down, you get up again. And as you continue to move forward and you pray and ask God to help you, as he see you take steps, he's going to be behind you, taking a step behind step after step. And I'm living proof of that. I also had a situation of that today because I was getting back in that old way of I had to take care of some business, didn't want to do it. Supposed to um, reach out yesterday to do it, but I was just hesitating, blah, blah. So I went into prayer, asked God to help me because I thought it was going to be complex and it really wasn't. And I reached out today and did what I had to do to take care of that. And it wasn't complicated like I thought it would be. So sometimes we can be stagnated by our own fear and insecurities of things. But when I get like that, I just stay in prayer and ask God to help me to move forward, to do what I need to do so I don't stay stuck and stagnated. That's so important, guys. One day at a time, one step at a time. And always keep in mind that nothing ventured is nothing gained. We have to move forward. You know, it's so important to take care of our health, mental and physical. And if someone doesn't want to see you grow, heal, and evolve, it's time to set boundaries. In my particular situation, when people didn't want to see me grow, heal, and evolve, because I had to think about and meditate over why. And as I started to see things for itself and not how I wanted it to be, I realized that because I was being a doormat to people, you know, whenever somebody had a problem or situation, I was right there helping, If they needed something, I was there to help give it to them if I could, and etc. and so forth. But as my therapist helped me to do a pro and con list and to look at this situation, what he wanted me to look at, what was I getting in return when I needed something? Zero. I was getting nothing. And so I had to see and look at the circumstances and situation that I was being used as a doormat. And when people get what they want, they go about their way. See you later, bye. you know and like I always tell you guys, whether it's family, whether it's a personal relationship or a business setting or environment, right? It's supposed to enhance your life, not bring hell to it. And if anybody tell you they supposed to abuse you and bring some type of toxicity and hell to your life, for me, I should cut off, block, and delete, because those things will keep you stuck in a past, keep you stuck in pain, keep you stagnated. And like I talk about and use that metaphor yesterday, crabs in a barrel. When they're all in a bucket and they're trying to get out, one crab will crawl over two and three and knock them down to the bottom so that they can reach the top. And this is how these folks are, these toxic individuals and situations. So that's why I choose to cut off, block, and delete. But I would highly suggest that you set boundaries, because when you set those boundaries, you can stay focused on your healing, your growth. And as you grow and heal, you start to see, these lessons. And okay, I didn't learn the lesson from that time over there, but I'm going to learn it now. Because as you learn it, you can close those doors, close that door forever. And then once you learn the lesson, you don't have to repeat it. And that door stays closed and you can move forward with new things and better situations, you know. Persevere. Do not give up on yourself. Yes, we fall short. We're human. We're imperfect. We fall short. But get right back up the next day, dust yourself off, and keep going. And ask God to help you. With my personal experience, I can tell you God is helping me every time I take a step. I said I don't want to take a step. I'm nervous, but I took a step and God made everything okay. Trust him. God will help you if you trust him and you're in the upright and you're not out there with negative intentions to harm or do anything to anyone. God will help you. I am living proof of that. You know, that is the message today, guys. Continue to move forward with your um, healing journey, because it will help you to change your mindset and see things in a different way. And as you see things in a different way, one thing before we close out today is when I talk about seeing things and viewing it in a different way, it's just like algebra for an example. You know how people do a formula to get an answer to an algebra problem? Did you guys know there's two different ways of doing a formula? Let's say, for example, the answer is number 5. You can do a formula like this person over here is doing a formula in one way, and this person is doing it a different way. As long as the result, the answer is 5. That's how it is with your mindset. You don't have to see things a certain way. When you change your mindset to see why a certain situation or a particular matter continues to happen over and over and over again in your life, like deja vu or something, look at why it's happening. What do I need to change? What do I need to build up in my life so I don't have to repeat this lesson? And that's how I look at these things. And as I learn and look that way, then I find a way to change that for the better. And as I do that, that lesson has been learned, that door has been closed. I can move forward. We can manifest and do these things: prayer, God, and perseverance. Let us get to a place where we can heal so that we can have inner peace instead of being broken down into pieces. That's the message today, guys. Move forward, continue to show up here. Subscribe to the channel, because I can never tell you when I'm going to be on, but subscribe so that when I'm on, you can join me and invite others to do the same. Well, guys, enjoy this weather, enjoy this day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for being here today. Bye for now.